Disclaimer time.
I want to start this episode by saying that I sometimes remember what I've read, who has written the things I've read, but I'm terrible in general at remembering names or books or where I have read or heard about something. So um, I wanted to address this now because I think it can go on for all the next episode. And having said that, one thing that happens is that when you read something nowadays, for example, a paper, a book, or watch a YouTube video, whatever it is that you are getting your information from, you can see that actually, if you read something, I'm sure there's another paper or another book saying the opposite of what you have read. So also have that in mind that the things I'm saying is the thing that based on my experience of the things I've learned, based on what I have gathered and connected through the times. So right now, I don't think it's that relevant if the information is true or not, because we don't know. Actually, we don't know if something is true, it's not. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, we are based on convention. So we say, okay, based on that the number 1 is 1 and the number 0 is 0, then we can say that 1 plus 0 is 1. But we don't actually have, we don't know, we just name that symbol as 1, that symbol as 0. And there have been about those equations, some equations that say 1 plus 1 is not 2. It has been demonstrated mathematically. So we don't know what is the truth right now. And I wanted to say that because this podcast is not about having a universal truth, but about having some food for thought. Some food for thought. Some things where you can ignite something in your mind, can spark some thoughts, some ideas, some insights. So you can, based on the things we talk here or the questions we have here, you can try to figure out your own way of thinking.
Welcome to Ulua. You live, you work, you art.
Hello, I am Caro from Ulua, and today we are going to talk a little bit more about what I was saying before about the things that you have to figure out for yourself. And the name of this episode is You Do You, because I like that phrase that is very used by a textile artist that I like. She is called Catherine from Cloth Tales, in case you are curious. And she talks about everything she does. She, for example, gives a prompt for the week for making some projects, artistic project. Again, she's a textile artist. And she says, okay, I have this and this and this, and I will use these premises for this prompt that I'm giving. But you do you. And she says that a lot of times, so I like that phrase. So this was also inspired not only because of her, but also because the other day I was looking at post on LinkedIn where from a person that I like and I follow, and I will have a mate here because I'm in Argentina. And he was saying that you have to read at least 1 week per week, and that you have also have to have I have some notes on the things he said because I can remember all. So he said you have to read every book until the end, and you have to read several books at the same time, and you have always to finish the book even if you don't like them. And I think that maybe the intent was not ill-advised, but I think that when you have that kind of of suggestions. That I also have suggestions for you in these episodes and in this podcast, and maybe you can you do you. But I think that saying that you have to do this and this and this, it's not actually that was it healthy or that. I mean, so if somebody says to you that you have to do certain things or in a particular order or in a particular way, um, you do you. You if you don't want to read 6 books at a time, you don't want to finish 1 book a day. There are some quests that are doing that, and I think you have to think about the context you are in, because sometimes you can, sometimes you cannot read 6 books at a time. Maybe if you are traveling a lot and you prefer to read physical books, like in my case, you can go with all the books around the world, or maybe you can, but you'd rather not. So just do you in anything that I say or that anybody says, because I don't think, even if the advice is well intended, I think that you have to think for yourself. And the idea of this whole podcast is you to think for yourself. And despite that I don't like to tell you what to do, I many times I suggest things to do. Sometimes I give several options, or sometimes when I am just talking about things, but always have in mind to be your own curator, to decide for yourself if you want to do this or that and why you're doing that. Understand your own context, where you are standing right now. And well, that's the main message of this episode. One of the reasons to do whatever you like or the things you want to do, doing you, is because, and this may sound a little harsh, because nobody cares about you. And that would be the name of this episode, but I changed it to You Do You. And really, nobody cares about you and about the things you do, because you are living your own life. And yeah, maybe there may be some people that say, oh, you're doing this right, you're doing that wrong, you're crazy, or whatever it is they may say. They don't, at the end of the day, you are in your body, in your mind, and nobody can replace that. When I moved to Indonesia the first week, and I knew that this could happen because I had seen some videos from Sasha Stevenson, which is in Indonesia, and she's from Canada. And when she arrived there, she realized that Indonesians have a totally different culture that we Westerners have. Imagine we are in the opposite side of the world. So I knew this might happen, but I didn't know that it would happen to me. It's nothing. It's something that sometimes happen in Indonesia if you are a girl that go there to live or to work. So I remember that when I arrived, Anthony, my colleague and friend from Australia, hi Anthony, if you're seeing, he was showing me around the malls, the places, and all, how to move around in Indonesia and that kind of thing in Jakarta. And I remember, I think it was in the first week, but I don't remember was the fourth or fifth day of the week. And he told me, come here, we will meet some friends, and we'll show you around the new mall, and that kind of thing. And one of his friends, he was a young man, and he said to me when we were having a chendol, which is a beverage from there, and he said, oh, so you are a crazy hot Latina from Mexico, because we are in the opposite side of the world and everything seems similar. For them, it's like all America is the same, all the continents of America is the same, and for us, all Asia is the same. So I had been warned about that because I had seen videos about that kind of thing could happen. That people think that maybe you are like crazy person because you are from other side of the world. And I remember I just laughed and say, no, I'm from Argentina. And then another other thing happens because for the bullets there, which who are the people that are foreigners, they think that we are completely different from Asian because we have a different culture, we have this different thinking, and also in Indonesia, the major religion is Islam. So the major religion here is Catholic. We are completely different in many things in our uh, in our upbringing. So, and I remember they say, okay, I know that that could happen. Then maybe they think that you're a crazy person from the other side of the world. So it actually liberated me to understand that we are thinking totally different. And so I just had to be me at the time. And it wasn't the first week, so it was really great. And I say, okay, if they think I'm crazy, then it doesn't matter what I do. People will think I'm crazy. Anyways, so it was super liberating for me. And I really appreciate that. So terima kasih mas to the guy that said that to me. I actually didn't see him again. So yeah, and then I realized, for example, some other foreigners that I was in contact with, they said, because bules are called the foreigners there, and they say, oh, all bules are crazy. Some Indonesians told me so. Yeah, we seem crazy because we think totally different because we have different upbringings, we have different mindsets, and that kind of thing. So when I came back to Argentina, I really felt quite liberated, as I said, during my stay in Indonesia too. And I started to, I don't know if you can be yourself. I don't know what that actually means, but I was feeling that I could do whatever I liked or whatever I really wanted to do. For example, at first, maybe before all this experience, maybe I would say, oh no, I'm wearing this shirt and maybe I can't wear that shirt. Or what would people think about me if I'm doing this or that, or if I'm laughing out loud? And I didn't really care. After I came back, I was a completely changed person due to that experience. And I think it was for the good. So whatever that means, being you in the moment, I think you can only be you in the moment, or be. I still struggle with that, with being you or with being authentic. I don't know what that actually means, but yeah, if that resonates with you, you can apply those ideas to this case, or to doing you, to you do you. And if you are weird, be weird. If you are not, and you want to be, I would say, don't follow other people's steps. Well, you may want to do that. That's okay. But this fake it until you make it kind of thing, it doesn't resonate with me anymore at all. Because again, you are trying to emulate what other people are saying, what other people are doing. And this comes also with when I started, for example, studying about coaching and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. One of the principles they have is that you have to emulate what other people are doing, so you can have more rapport and you can connect better with people. And it's kind of awkward at the same time, because people realize that when you are trying to emulate what they are doing, It's like I don't think that's authentic at all. So I do think that NLP is a good tool to have in your toolkit, but I don't think it's the whole deal. I mean, there are so many things, and actually, it started. I will go downsides here with NLP a little bit, so bear with me. It started by studying the opposite. What did people do when they are connected to each other? So they have eye contact. Uh, when you are in sync with another people, you can feel it. You can realize it. You can see it from outside. You can see when two people are connecting, how they are working and interacting and all that. But if you are trying to impose that on the connection, if you're trying to be liked by the other person, it also shows up. So I would say beware of that too. But yeah, I went sideways, so sorry about that. What else? I have some notes that I have taken that I want to talk to you about. So other thing is that yeah, when you do you, there's also some kind of you say risk. I don't know if risk is a word, but there's a chance that you could say, okay, I'm doing me and this is me and I don't care about the others and I start dissing the others because they are different. That's another thing to take in mind. Because I think that on the contrary, we need to embrace other people's way of thinking, the diversity. This is also a podcast to include everyone, even when they are totally opposite at thinking. But we can still have some kind of connection, or we can at least agree to disagree about the things that we are not totally comfortable with the people that we are talking about. We are talking to, because, for example, as I was saying, I have many friends in Indonesia now, but at first it was like I don't totally think what they are thinking, or I cannot relate what they're thinking, their way of living, because we are from separate worlds. It's like being alien almost. But I totally appreciate so many things about them that maybe I hadn't thought before. And by trying to understand them, you can also open your mind and learn things from different people. And well, I have so many experiences about that. I'm not going to share them all, but yeah, you can, not at least now, but you somehow become a little more compassionate and empathic, empathetic, empathetic. You can, by understanding them, or by trying to understand them, maybe you will never understand how they actually think, because it's hard to know how myself, yourself, everybody, everyone thinks in their own mind. So imagine trying to understand what other people are thinking. But you can learn about the costumes, about the things they do, about maybe somehow relate to some things they do, totally unrelated from the other things they do. But I think it opens your mind, it opens your understanding, and it also opens your connection to people, because you can say, okay, you think I'm crazy, it doesn't matter, or I'm think you're crazy too, but in that craziness, that opposite way of working, of doing things, or thinking, of behaving, we can gather some lessons. And maybe if, for example, in some cases, I was working in Indonesia, so I had to come to agreements with people there about how we would be working or how we would be proceeding on certain activities and tasks and that kind of thing, because the approaches were totally different. So we had to get some connection, some agreement uh, for things to be done. So yeah, I want to consider that too. That maybe if you are totally different from another person, you can still have a place or a common ground where you can meet each other, like meeting halfway. You don't have to go to the other part of the world to have this kind of thinking or this behavior. You can do it with your neighbor, because for sure your neighbor might be totally different from you. They might have other religion, other I don't know, for example, ideology. So you don't have to go to a mountain or to Asia, or if you're in America or in Europe, or you don't have to come here if you are in Asia. Um, you can start doing that or practicing that with your own neighbors, your own family sometimes. For example, last night I had dinner with my sister, and she's totally different from me in many things. Even we come from the same family and the same parents, and we have the same upbringing, but we think differently in some things, and we feel like and we totally connect in other things. So I think you have plenty places to practice this kind of opening of this, trying to understand other people's minds, if you want to, of course. But you do you. But anyways, I think this kind of opening is necessary now, at least from what I see or how I see the world right now, from only from my four walls here. As you know, I'm not going out that much right now, but I think that yes, it feels like we're more disconnected now, in generally. Even when I talk to people, and feel or they also, maybe it's just the people that I I am with, I don't know, but it feels like there's more disconnection right now in the world, and I think that we need that, even it's virtually. I think that we need to be more open and be more capable of at least having the tolerance or the patience to understand others or to listen to others. And I know it's difficult because we want to have everything right now, because we have, I don't know, I want to know something, I go to the computer and I just Google it, or chat GPT it, or Gemini, or whatever you use, and you just go and say, okay, I want to know about this, I want to know about that, I want to see if somebody's online, I want to see if I can have this or that, or I want to buy something. Yes, I have right now. I have coming. I don't know. My package is coming, and I can see every step of the process, and I can see everything, and everything seems so easy, so quick, and so transparent. But there are so many layers that we are missing, and if we want, right, I don't know, say beat AI, because I think it's a good tool. I don't want to go into the specifics of what I think about AI, but I think it's just a tool. It cannot replace at the same time as humans. And even though when I was younger, I was so focused on technology, and I really was amazed by I don't know, in the future having this and having that and having AI. And now that I have arrived to this stance, I realize that we as humans have to learn a lot of things still. Yes, we can have so many support from technology in general, but we need to still need to learn how to be human. And well, that's my idea. I don't know what you think. But yes, and also to be, as I said, what is to be human? Well, that's a huge topic. I'm not going in there right now, but I think it's my perception again. Maybe you can say that I'm crazy, and that's okay. But I think that we are disconnected and we are not fully. I don't know if you have to be fully transparent with each other, but yes, we can at least have to have the tolerance or the understanding or the compassion. I think that is something that we are lacking as humans. I think. I don't know what you think. And yeah, and maybe not for us adults, but I'm much more worried. Even if I don't have kids, I have nephews and nieces, and I really like for them to have a world where they understand each other. They are not so that impatient that some are now. So yeah, this space is just for us to reflect on that kind of thing. But anyway, I went totally sideways. Expect some rambling because maybe it's something I can learn. Not to ramble that much. But yeah, I think we have a lot to learn still from what it means to be human, and at the same time for being yourself. What does it mean to be yourself? How are you? As we spoke the as we talked about in the last episode about how do you think? Who are you? We could say. If you don't know that about yourself, it's kind of difficult for, maybe you can, but I think it's difficult for you to understand other people if you don't understand yourself, or if you don't understand your emotions, your own thinking, your mind, your behaviors, and that kind of thing. So yeah, this episode was more like of rambling reflection, but I hope that it helps you somehow relate relate to some kind of these ideas. We will continue to explore in the next episode. And this podcast is about life in general. So it's about work, it's about life, it's about art, it's about how we think, it's about us human, it's about technology, it's about like almost everything, everyday life. So also at work, what I've seen is that, especially if you work in a team, you might not feel totally connected to the people in your team, and you may have had some experiences where you feel comfortable working with a team, when you feel comfortable working in a company, and maybe you have had some other experiences where you're feeling totally out of place. I know I have, and how that influences also your way of working or what things you are doing for your work, and your motivation, your emotions about the things. So trying to keep a balance between what you are feeling for your work and how you are behaving, it's kind of difficult too. So even if you have to do you, sometimes you doing you is influenced by the environment. For example, I had a team in 2019 when I came back from Indonesia. I worked with a team that was amazing, and I really loved them all because we were working together, but we also became friends because we had traveled to the US and we stayed there for 3 weeks. So we get really together and we could communicate and understand each other, we had some differences with the team, and we had some collisions, I would say, because these kind of troubles are intense, and we had some differences that came up. Differences that came up in this travel, and we did our part all together. We had during the travel, we had some retrospectives and some things to bend in a good way the things that were happening, and we came to agreements, and it was really, really amazing team. We kept on having some differences, of course, because it's part of life and people. But it was really good team, and I really had a good time with them. And I felt, for example, in my case, that I felt that I was doing me at the time. I felt good, and I felt that the environment was also good, and I felt like I was at my best. Let's go. But then I had other experiences. I'm not going into details there, where the environment was not good. Maybe people were shouting or at each other. They were having conflicts every day. You could see the long faces. And that kind of environment, it gets to you somehow, especially if you are an empath. It gets to you somehow, and maybe you're not at your best too. So yes, have in mind that also doing you depends on the context. Everything in our life, I think, depends on the context you're in, on the environment, on the things you're going in your life also, because influences you. For example, as I mentioned in the retrospective we did at the start of this podcast, I was not fully myself. I was not my best self last year due to my physical condition. So that's another thing that you have to keep in mind, not only for yourself, for doing you, but also if you have some other people at work or in your family that they have some problem, maybe they are not being their best self in the moment. So try to understand that. Sometimes, yes, sometimes you have to kick them out because it's the best option for you to keep your own mental health. But in general, I think that there are some things that you can do to be you, to not lose yourself, despite the circumstances. So maybe my suggestion that it's actually for myself is to be more aware of, are you doing you every day, despite of the consequences, despite of the environment, not the consequences. Are you being you, or are you being yourself every day? Yeah, that's a question I want to keep out, or keep as a takeaway from this episode. Thank you for being here, and see you in the next episode. Have fun.
Stay tuned for Uluwa's next episode.
Hi, this is Editing Me, and I will leave you a link of a funny video in the comments. Bye!